This is the wildest idea I've ever had for a deck. It's a game within a game, a story within a deck, a curated experience for the rest of the table. Let me know if you're into these way offbeat ideas and I'll throw some more out there. It might be fun to push the envelope and discover how stupid is too stupid. This is humans versus zombies. Here's the gimmick. Half the deck is humans, half the deck is zombies, and our own deck is fighting with itself. Will our zombies win over our humans, or will the humans triumph over the zombie horde? It's our very own minigame within the game. We do group Discord brews for upcoming shows, and you can find out how to join that through patreon.com/commandersbrew. And one of our members, Chiefy, pointed out that we could also do Plants vs. Zombies, which is a flavor win to be sure, but there's way more cards that support humans, and I think I'd rather go that way. If we're going to make this work, we need the card volume. Now, zombies are mostly in the color black, and humans are mostly in the color white. That points us towards Orzhov, but there's lots of zombies that are also Orzhov, and lots of humans that are also Selesnya, maybe more so Selesnya. So to get that balance, I think we gotta go Obzon. And I think my favorite way to present this idea might be to give a fun experience to your playgroup. You don't tell them what's going on at first. Pick a human commander like Anafenza the Foremost. Tell everyone, oh, this is my humans deck. I do hate her no graveyard clause, but I would be willing to redact that part as a rule 0 if it means that the graveyard decks get to play. This one's built for the fun of the group after all. So you sell it as a humans deck, and the first few plays are just normal human type stuff. Maybe a Cathar Commando, maybe a Yavimaya Elder. No surprises, virtual commander staples. And then you drop a Rally the Ranks, and everyone's like, oh sure, that's for your humans tribal deck, right? And I choose zombies. What? Oh, that's weird. Zombies? Well, it's probably nothing. Let's ignore this until it's too late. Like any classic zombie story, we'll just ignore that that's out there. I think by now our opponents might realize what's going on. And then we drop cards that are just perfect for this effect, like Doomed Dissenter or Loyal Cathar. These are humans that actually die and become zombies, which is how all of these things start. You can guarantee that Loyal Cathar didn't tell anybody they got that infected bite. No, it's fine. I feel fine. Do I look pale? No, trust me, I wasn't bit. And we can make sure that if the first few of our zombies actually sacrifice humans, Fleshbag Marauder comes to mind. We get to pick anything we want, but we for sure are going to pick a human. I think Archghoul of Thraben is kind of the ideal zombie for this sort of thing. Whenever Archghoul of Thraben or another zombie you control dies, you look at the top card of your library, and if it's a zombie, you may reveal it and put it into your hand, and if you don't, you may put it into your graveyard. But we will absolutely put it in the graveyard, especially if it's a human. This kind of tips the balance towards the zombies. We're more likely to draw and have more zombies appear. I think that's just perfect for the flavor. Considering Flavour Wins, we have to include Champion of the Parish, little 1-drop that gets bigger as other humans enter, and the exact reverse, Champion of the Perished, gets bigger when zombies come out. As we're putting the deck together, I do think it's important to keep the balance. I want an approximately equal amount of zombie cards and human cards. And it's neat if we can find things that pump up each side of the team respective. Lord of the Accursed is a perfect example. It gives other zombies +1/+1, and it can give all zombies menace until end of turn if we care to attack other people. I will get to that in a second though, don't worry. This isn't just meant to be goldfished. We will be able to play a real game. Sanctuary Lockdown gives all our humans +1/+1, and lets us tap a couple of humans to tap an opposing creature. Again, for the big game that's happening outside of our little mini game. And we can sort of balance them by running cards like Honor of the Pure, which only gives white creatures +1/+1. Most of the humans are white, so it should work on the appropriate side of the team. And likewise, Bad Moon, giving black creatures +1/+1, mostly affects the zombies. It's not a perfect balance, but it seems good enough to be worth including. And if we wanted to, we can even pick the types of plains, swamps, and forests to make it look really good. Like maybe the plains all have some sort of buildings on them, look like civilizations. Maybe the swamps look like places that the protagonists will run into the first few zombies of the show. And the forests should be gloomy looking, neutral ground ones. Nighttime. None of those golden rays of sun poking through. And actually, if you just run the D&D lands for all of these, it kind of fits. But who should be the commander? I mean, if we don't really want to do Anafenza the Foremost, because that's not great, I think you'd have to go with partners. My guess would be Sidar Kondo of Jamura, the 4-drop with flanking, so that whenever a creature without flanking blocks it, the blocking creature gets -1/-1. Hard to chump this thing. And creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. And I would partner him with Tormod the Desecrated. This is a 4-drop in black, which completes the Obzon color set. And whenever one of our cards leave your graveyard, you create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. The zombies keep growing. Sidar Kondo doesn't actually help the humans per se, but at least he's a human. And if we were to do the Plants vs. Zombies version, I think he gave Guru of Spores as a nice include. But that's for another show. One other option could be the newly spoiled spoiled Thalia and the Gitrog monster. This is coming out in March of the Machines, which as of this recording is not out yet, but a lot of cards have been spoiled already. This is a 4-drop in Obzon, 4/4. You got First Strike and Death Touch, and I think it's Thalia riding the Gitrog monster. The Gitrog monster is not a zombie per se, it's a frog horror. But you could pretend. For those interested, the card lets us play an additional land on each of our turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter tapped, and whenever this thing attacks, sacrifice a creature or a land, then draw a card. Also love the idea that some of these cards are going to want to sacrifice creatures to do other things. And I think the notion is that any card of one team will always sacrifice something on the other team. It's a good way to represent the struggle between the forces. Now, Ghoul Color Giza might be the exception. This 5-drop is a 3/4, and we can pay black and tap her to sacrifice another creature to make X 2/2 zombie creature tokens, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. I think in this case, she's working on the zombie team, and although she's human, we're gonna have her sacrifice other humans to make zombies. Shadowheart Dark Justicar actually fits nicely. This 4-mana 3/4 in black has an ability for 1 in a black, tap, sacrifice another creature, in this case a zombie because it's a human elf cleric. Human elf cleric, wait a second, I guess that makes them half elf? You sack another creature and draw X cards where X is that creature's power, most likely 2. And Prowling Geistcatcher is absolute perfect flavor for the human team. It's a 4-mana 2/4 human rogue, and whenever you sacrifice another creature, which we're doing a lot of, you exile it. If that creature was a token, you put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Geistcatcher. So as we sacrifice zombie tokens to get rid of them forever, the Geistcatcher gets bigger. But when Prowling Geistcatcher leaves the battlefield, you return all the cards exiled to the battlefield under your control. If for some reason we need to save a human on the team, we could sacrifice it to Prowling Geistcatcher. Or rather, we sacrifice it and then Prowling Geistcatcher exiles it. And if anything happens to Geistcatcher, the zombie tokens won't come back because they're gone, and all the human actual card representations will come back. It's good for the third act of the story where the humans finally overcome the zombies. Unless it's a sad ending movie. And then on the zombie side, simply we can do things like Dread Malkin, a 1-mana 1/1 with Menace, and we can pay 3 to sack another creature, ideally a human, and put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Stronghold Assassin is a 3-mana 2/1 that taps to sack a creature and destroy a non-black creature. This is a great test for how deep you want to go on the theme. If you really want to go deep on the internal struggle, you're going to sacrifice one of your own humans to destroy another one of your humans. Quagmire Druid has a more useful ability for a bigger game, 3-mana 2/2, and we can pay green and tap to sack a creature, a human, destroy target enchantment. Now, the toughest part of the puzzle, in my opinion, is how do you choose which one to sacrifice? There's very likely a time where we'll have both a gnawing zombie in play, that's a 2-mana 1/3, and we can pay 2 mana to sacrifice a creature, make a player lose a life and you gain a life. Okay, so that's 2 mana to sacrifice a human, and maybe we have Dockside Chef. It's the 1-mana 1/2, and for the same 2 mana, we can sacrifice an artifact or creature to draw a card. The Dockside Chef, being a human, would sacrifice a zombie. How do we pick? If you decide by whoever has the most board presence, then that gets pretty snowbally. And if you go the other way, if you let the team that's behind do the sacrificing, then that kind of always hits equilibrium. We'll need something because we need to know how to resolve fight as one. We will only ever choose one, not both, which is target human gets +1/+1 and indestructible, or target non-human gets +1/+1 and indestructible. We will never choose both. One of the members of our Discord, Groove Chicken, gave me this excellent idea. I think one way we can solve this is by running something like Aetherworks Marvel. Hear me out. It's a 4-mana, a legendary artifact, and whenever a permanent goes into the graveyard that you control, you get an energy. We have no other ways to make energy, but I think this should happen with enough regularity. So we can tap it and pay 6 energy. You look at the top 6 cards of your library, and you can cast one from among them without paying its mana cost. Maybe this is how we decide the ties. We spin the Marvel, and whichever of the 6 cards we reveal has the most representation, we pick one of those. That's the team that's currently winning. And that team has the lead, quote unquote, until we get to spin the Marvel again. And the faster stuff starts dying, the more we get to spin this thing, and the more we get to flip the tides. Or maybe we don't. Maybe the zombies keep winning and it's a dark day for humans. I don't know. Sounds like a fun story either way. Now we gotta talk tokens for a second. We are probably gonna be using tokens to do our sacrificing for the most part, and we can make tokens pretty easily. Maja, Bretagard Protector. This is a Selesnya human warrior. It's a 2/3 for 5. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. I think I would want to talk to the table and be like, can we errata this so that only other humans get +1/+1? I doubt we would get much objection. And whenever a land enters the battlefield, you make a 1/1 white human warrior creature token. Nice. And although it's not a token, I think Gravecrawler is the perfect zombie flavor card for this. It's a 1-mana 2/1, can't block, and you can cast it from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So If you've got some zombies, this thing keeps coming back. But if you're out of zombies, it stays dead. And something like Diagraph Colossus, it's a 3-mana 2/2, but it comes down with a +1/+1 counter for each zombie card in your graveyard. And whenever you cast a zombie, you make a black zombie creature token. This thing either comes down huge because the zombies have had a lot of people die, or maybe it comes down tiny and is a symbol that a lot of the zombies are yet to appear. But Cemetery Reaper, I think, holds the key to how this could work in a really fun way. It's a 3-mana 2/2, it pumps up all their zombies by +1/+1, and it makes a zombie token by paying 3, tapping, and exiling a creature card from a graveyard. Diagraph Colossus cares how many zombies are in the graveyard, so we can also have these creatures focus on the other team. Cemetery Reaper can eat all the humans from the graveyard, turn them into zombies, Flavour Win, and then something like General's Enforcer, that's the 2-mana 2/3, it gives our legendary humans indestructible, and we can pay 4 to exile a card from a graveyard, and if it was a creature, you make a human soldier creature token. This is the guy who's going to be eating the zombies out of the graveyard. Now, there's not a lot of things that make tokens by eating creatures on a human side. I think this is the only one. So we can run stuff like Sungold Sentinel or Sanctifier of Souls. These are both creatures that get to exile things from the graveyard, and of course they will focus on zombies. The Sanctifier of Souls turns them into 1/1 white spirit creature tokens, which maybe that breaks the theme. Maybe you don't want this for that reason, you just want to stick to humans and zombies only. No ghosts. What do we do about your opponents? We are sitting at a table with other people and they want to play a game of Commander, so we can't really ignore them the whole time. And if maybe your table's not up to it and they don't feel like doing this sort of gimmicky thing, just put something like a Maskwood Nexus in. The deck kinda runs like a token deck and you could certainly play it for real if you wanted to. There's only a little bit of anti-synergy where some humans make humans when you cast humans, that sort of thing. But if you really want to keep the theme, I would suggest that whenever you attack opponents, you don't mix humans and zombies. If you're attacking opponent 1, you either send some humans or some zombies, not a mix. We gotta run Darien, King of Kaldior. Whenever we're dealt damage, we make white soldier creature tokens, as long as we can talk to our opponents and errata this like a rule 0 thing so that they are human soldiers. And then our human friends at the table get to help out the human team by attacking us, and we can let it through and we'll make more humans. Unless the zombies decide to get in the way. I can't control the zombies. And you pretty much have to run Rick, Steadfast Leader, to represent the leader of the humans. This is exactly what this deck is about. Maybe you hate this universes beyond kind of thing, but Rick is a 4-mana 3/4 from The Walking Dead, and you choose 2 abilities from among First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink, and all your humans have each of those chosen abilities. And as long as you control 4 or more humans, all your humans get +2/+2. It's pretty good. You could even kind of play it with the personality of whoever's in the lead at that moment. Are the humans winning? Well, then I make deals and I honor them. I play with purpose. I'm predictable. But if the zombies are winning, I'll play chaotic, unpredictable. What even is a deal? Could I have some brains, please, instead of these chips? And if you want to take the idea of playing a solitaire game, you really want to ignore what the other players at the table are doing, just run something like Mortal Kombat. That's your own endgame trigger. This 4-mana enchantment says that at the beginning of your upkeep, if there's 20 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you win the game. If that happens, we just decide whoever has the more board presence is the winner that night. Maybe it's the humans that prevail, or maybe it's the zombies. Or maybe this card does very little because we end up exiling a lot of creatures from our graveyard. So there you have it. This is the wildest idea I've had yet for an episode. Well, it's not the wildest idea I've had. I've had a few that were out there that I haven't done shows on. And if you want to see shows on these kind of things, let me know in the comments. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the episode. If you liked it, I'd love a like and a subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And in the meantime, you keep being you. The world's a better place for it. I'll see you next time. And if you want another zombie deck, here's Esper Zombies Revisited.